Guys, I am back with another DDD deck profile. The difference here is that I'm actually going to be doing an OCG build because it's actually the structure deck is actually right around the corner, and the deck is actually pretty savage when you actually get into everything. But I've been playtesting a lot, and in the deck I found like the ratios I like. And if you guys have any comments or anything, if you have any tips for me, I'd love to get better at the deck. All right, let's just go ahead and get into it. All right, so we have Triple Ragnarok, quite possibly the best card in the main deck. I feel like the effect that he has to tribute and banish a monster, I feel like that's a pretty savage move in itself. So usually just tribute off your own DDs, like Necro Slime or something like that, to get them in the grave, just to fusion summon after you already banish your opponent's monster. So yeah, and then 3K booty, I like it. I like 3K. So yeah, and then Pendulum Scale, he really extends your combo plays in Pendulum Scale. So yeah, three. I play Triple Lamia. It's gonna be the tuner that's coming out. This card, like everybody's really hyped for. Yeah, because when you combo off into Siegfried, Crystal Wing, and Harbinger, all those things like your triple negation and things like that. When you combo off into that, you're gonna be summoning this card back a lot. Like I counted, it's probably about 12 to 13 special summons. But this thing comes back probably about 4 or 5 times in a turn if your opponent actually allows you to combo off all the way. So yeah, three. Oh yeah, also it sends a DDR Dark contract from the hand or field to grave to special summon this card from hand or field, hand or grave, excuse me. And yeah, it actually I usually ditch my Dark contracts for this that are already on the field that I already used, just so that I don't take burn for it later. And the boards are usually like a Harbinger, Crystal Wing, Siegfried with no contract to burn me. So yeah, obviously 3 Necro Slime, a fusion from the grave. 3 Kepler, of course. With the new support, you really don't want to be normal summoning this card. You'd rather normal summon Lamia. My normal summon is usually Lamia. I usually send this off the Swirl Slime when Ragnarok is in scale to summon a fusion monster, and then summon this back in defense position like this, and then get my search off from there and whatever I need to do. So, and then you don't even use your normal summon yet. So yeah, Swirl Slime. Because this card fusion from hand, and then it banishes itself from the grave to special summon a DD from the hand. So yeah, you can also extend your combo plays like that. Double Thomas because I'm running the Armageddon, and then Armageddon is pretty good because he's a 3K. But does Double Thomas, he's a rank 8 play. And then also you can never forget about adding a DD from your extra deck to your hand during your main phase. So yeah, it's actually really good. Usually you don't have to even search for another Kepler because you already have it in scale. So you search, so you add the Kepler to your hand, and then you search for something else that can help you combo off. So yeah, Double Thomas, I think he's a pretty good card. In terms of main deck monsters, this is one of my favorite cards with the new support. Because he's a foolish burial who also stops you from taking damage from spell cards when he's in scale. And then so usually I just send him with Swirl Slime when Ragnarok is in scale to summon this card back, and then Foolish Burial for my Necro Slime or something like that. I run one Orthos. I like how he's like the searchable MST. He destroys another Dark Contract or DD card you control, and then he destroys a spell or trap your opponent controls, or just one on the field. So he can actually, you can destroy 2 on the field, even 2 of your own if you'd like. I like him because he's a tuner, and then I can make Siegfried like this as well. Even though this is pretty unorthodox for me to make Siegfried like this, I have before. Savant Newton, I like this card because, okay, in scale, he stops you from taking damage from trap cards, things like Witch. And then he's also a monster reincarnation for DDs and Dark Contract, so you discard this card and then you add one back. Then I like how these two go together perfectly, in my opinion, 1 in 10 scale. Spells, traps, stopping damage, respectively. And then you can just scale them both, and then you can you can scale them both, and you can pendulum summon, even though you don't really pendulum summon very often in this deck. So yeah. I run the 1 Armageddon. I like how he's 3K. When another monster is destroyed, he gains that attack for the turn. So you can always crash another monster into something else, and then he gains the attack. So you can beat over things like Chaos Max and things like that. And then in order for him to be destroyed by spells and traps, like he must be targeted. So like things like Raigeki and Dark Hole are not going to work on him. He's just going to stay on the board. Even though that effect is not too relevant, but it actually is really good. And when he's in scale, you can target a DD monster you control. He gains 800 until the end phase of the turn. Even though I don't really use the scale effect very often, I don't scale this card very often at all. So yeah, and then the scale, because the scale is like awkward, the force pretty awkward. So yeah, Double Maxi, obviously you want to draw cards, and then these. This is the reason why I run a 42 card deck. These are the last two cards. This is 41 and 42 in the deck. So yeah, Maxi is really good. Although you can cut Maxi if you'd like. I've actually seen success. I've actually had success without Maxi in the deck because I just draw a combo piece instead. But Maxi is still good going second. All right, there's no explanation for this. This is the bread and butter of the deck. This like gets it going. Allure of Darkness, I love this card. I run enough DDs in order to not banish anything I really need. You run 3 of everything, so you don't really care that much. And I don't run Desires because I don't, it's the cost and everything like that. So yeah, I think triple Allure is actually really good. I run double Swamp King. I wish that someone could convince me to run one because I've seen in really good OCG builds that have been topping in the past, they would run one Swamp King. But my thing is that like my opponent will always do something to it and I'll lose it. You know, I won't have another one to search. I like 2. 2 works good enough for me. But even though I do sometimes draw 2 of them. But the thing is that you have Lamia to like send it to the grave and things like that. So yeah, I run double trade in because I run 6 level 8s, and usually I'm not. If I have Ragnarok and a different level 8 in my hand, I'm usually gonna trade in the other level 8 and scale Ragnarok. Because I usually want to scale Ragnarok, but I will trade in Ragnarok if I must. But yeah, trade in is really good because 2 is good because you don't draw it too much. You draw it enough. 2 is you just draw it just enough. For the one I run Raigeki because this card makes your deck savage really. Foolish Burial is nice to have, even though you do have the Copernicus. You could just take this out and have the double Copernicus and something else if you'd like. Although I do recommend Foolish Burial. 1 for 1 because you play 6 level 1s. Just 1 Twin Twister because most DD decks don't really play Twin Twister. So just 1 is kind of savage for the deck. Just 1. 1 for DD is kind of savage. So yeah, you can discard a combo piece and get it off. And then stop. You know, because a lot of times like people like to flip Vanities, Emptiness, and Anti-Spell on you. You just Twin Twister it off and then you just go for game from there. For the last spell I run, it's a terrible looking proxy, but it's Dark Contract with the Yami Makai. I like this card because basically all it does is that a DD monster in your Pendulum scale or one that's in your extra deck, all it does is just scale a DD Pendulum monster from your graveyard. All it does is send a DD from your graveyard to the Pendulum scale or from your extra deck to the Pendulum scale. So all it does is just gives you a free Pendulum scale. Like if Ragnarok's in my grave, if I use trade-in or something, Ragnarok, I get a free Pendulum scale with this card. So I really do like it. So it's just a free Pendulum scale without me having to search it off with gate or anything like that. So yeah, 1 Yami Makai, you do take 1,000 during standby. Although 1's fine because you don't draw too much and it's searchable. So yeah, I run 3 traps. I run the Vanities and then the Solemn Strike. I think Witch is terrible because I like the attack boost of Witch, but my thing about Witch is that like when I draw one of these cards, I'm like, I think to myself, oh, at least I can stop something, you know, or at least he won't be able to special summon. When I draw Witch, I'm like, I'm gonna have to wait. But Witch does interrupt, but I prefer these two over Witch because they negate monster effects too. And then Witch is slow too. Witch, you'll notice that if you play without Witch, in my opinion, the deck will be faster. I side the 1 Witch, but I just think that these are just the 3 best traps to even run. You can run a third. Yes, you can run a 3rd strike if you want, but I feel like you draw too much. I feel like a 2 I draw just enough. Vanities I draw all my traps just enough. So yeah. All right, so on to the extra deck. The extra deck is actually pretty savage in my opinion. So let's go ahead and get it. So first is double Genghis combo extender. I was thinking about running a 3rd one. A 3rd one is possible. I might put a 3rd one in because I found other combos you can do with it. But yeah, double Genghis. I run one of the big 32 fusions. I like him how he's pretty. This is a savage card. Because usually when you have ABCs, they like if you summon this card. Usually ABCs they're gonna tag out, and you usually swing at the C if they don't have any cards. You swing C and then you equip the A, and then A says that a monster equipped with this card is unaffected by monster effects. So yeah, you equip A to this card, literally like ABC. There's nothing they can do about that. And then you equip B, and then you equip A, and then you equip the C. It's ridiculous what you can do to people. And then it's also the Chaos Max Killer, the Cosmo Killer, and anything like that. So yeah, it just swings at a monster, takes a different monster, gains that attack, and equips the monster that it did not swing at. So yeah, One Beowulf. I love this card because once per turn during standby, he is a heavy storm. I like playing him against heavy trap players. You can summon him before you even summon Kali Yuga. He works almost just as well. And then he makes all your DDs do piercing damage, and not to mention he is 3K. Formula allows you to do things like Trishula on your opponent's turn and things like that, and you draw a card whenever you summon it. I run the one Alexander, obviously, because he's just Alexander. He's a monster reborn. I run the Clear Wing, although I was thinking about making Moonlight instead. Moonlight's a good option. So yeah, there's Clear Wing, just for my 7, so I can go into Crystal Wing. I run Crimson Blader. This could be Omega. I just don't have an Omega right now. But the thing about Crimson Blader is that like when you summon this card and you're about to attack your opponent, like your opponent is not expecting this, and then your opponent, they have to do something about this card, because if they don't, they're just going to lose, because you're just swing with this, and they're not going to be able to special summon anything that's really going to help them out against you. I run a Siegfried, Spell and Trap Negator. Negates face-up cards as well. So yeah, he's basically like Six Samurai Shien's cousin. Crystal Wing. Buster Dragon can't do any... When it's this against Buster Dragon can't do a thing about this card, so... Neither can Chaos Max. They can't do anything about this card. Trishula, probably my favorite synchro in the deck, because I usually try to Trishula every time I go second. So yeah, every time I go second, I usually try Trishula. And then I try to Trishula on my opponent's turn. That's usually a savage play and usually win. So yeah. For my rank 6s, I run Dragulus and Utopia Beyond. PK Fire has no answer for this card. They can't do anything about it. And then Utopia Beyond he's savage because he makes all your monsters 0, and he's 3. He's gonna do a straight 3K, you know. And then Dragulus, he books extra deck monsters, special summons himself face down when he's banished or sent to the graveyard. So yeah, I don't run Beatrice because I've learned that Beatrice is not good because Beatrice doesn't do anything, because I assume that most people are not even running Farfa. So yeah. For the rank 8s, Kali Yuga, because he is a beast, and then Harbinger.